Kuro Games just weathered our waves once again with their most recent set of new features and quality of life updates. And let's just say that these are some of the most creative ones yet. Features like improved wave plate expenditure, our first iteration of skins, and likely the most exciting addition of all, a team burst attack that'll have you thinking the game has turned into an MMO. And it's clear from the nature of these implementations that Kuro's adding exactly what players are looking for, no doubt due to their impeccable ability to listen to players. When we think about the many new additions Kuro's designed for Wuthering Waves, it's clear that they're constantly looking for ways to improve the player experience, and there have been countless titles and genres that they've studied very well to make their implementations the best they could possibly be. When developers like Kuro take inspiration from others when designing their game's new features, that's not copying, especially when you have to take the time to identify and adapt those features to fit your game's design, world, and playstyle. It's not as simple as a copy and paste, and with Kuro's track record of absolutely fantastic updates across the short 5.5 months Wuthering Waves has been live, they've proven themselves as one of the industry's most creative and competent developers. And today, we'll be taking the time to break down how this creativity has come to life, examining the titles and features Kuro's taken inspiration from, and how they've been able to adapt them so seamlessly into the Wuthering Waves world, while making them feel even better than the previous iterations. When you see all of the different ways these devs have improved the game before even reaching its half anniversary, you can't help but wonder what other devs are doing and what else they have in store after 1.4. As always, if you're enjoying this content, please hit that like and subscribe button. The biggest highlight from the most recent developer notes is the first item on the list, Dreamlink. While this mechanic seems to be tied to the return of the elusive realm, it's also one of the most exciting new additions we've seen to combat, with a fantastic action close-up of the entire party, followed by a massive number of attacks from 3 on-fielded characters. You don't see visuals like this outside of co-op game modes. Those familiar with another party-based action RPG, Grand Blue Fantasy Relink, will see some huge similarities between this mechanic and their chain burst system, which is one of the most hype-inducing moments you can have across its fights. However, a lot of those hype moments honestly feel like a cutscene after the first few activations, and its implementation in Wuthering Waves captures that same level of hype while also looking far more engaging while you're actually doing damage. Wuwa is also a game where you never get to see all 3 of your characters fighting at once, so this feature is shaping up to be one of the coolest new additions to gameplay. While the activation conditions for Dreamlink aren't clear from the post, it looks like one of the requirements is breaking the boss's stagger bar, and it's a fantastic way of adding even more benefits to a mechanic that, in all honesty, feels like it's a bit more passive and automatic in gameplay rather than something players actively strategize around. The game arguably has the best combat system in gacha gaming and has only innovated on it more and more, and we can only hope that Kuro can take the best of these new experimental features and add them into the baseline gameplay. They've already taken the high-speed dashing from the Infinite Battle simulation and incorporated them into this new game mode in 1.4, as well as in Lumi, the new 4-star character's kit. Another new feature getting added so early on in Wuwa's release is something players have been asking for since day one, skins. While character skins are still unfortunately unconfirmed, the addition of weapon skins is a great sign for what's ahead. Characters like Zhang Liao, Jeja, and Encore don't actually use their weapons very much in combat, making their appearance somewhat awkward on their characters, even if they have a great design. With Kuro's addition of invisible skins for rectifiers, gauntlets, and partially hidden skins for all other weapons, they're just giving players more and more options for how to enjoy the game, and the characters they've been spending their time and money on. Games like Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail, and Zenless Zone Zero aren't even close to an implementation like this, and it's awesome to see Kuro implementing more and more systems from one of their past titles, Punishing Grey Raven. And when you see how much detail and care goes into the design of that game's skins, Wuwa has a lot to look forward to when it comes to its roster. The last set of announced changes are less focused on new features and instead focused on improving quality of life for the old. And let's just say that these are some of the best and most highly requested updates we've ever seen. First off, Kuro's done away with the annoying little walks from waypoints to various challenges challenges like boss battles and tacit fields, with basically every other way to spend wave plates directly available for teleportation. They've just simplified the experience across the board, taking away the restrictions in the experience that are artifacts from Genshin Impact. Another way they're streamlining the grind is by offering double the cost and double the reward for any run in any material dungeon, turning your daily tacit fields from 4 to 2 or your forgery challenges from 6 to 3. This is a great take on saving player time that might remind you of the auto clear function from Honkai Star Rail, but Wuthering Waves unfortunately does not play itself. And even if it did, claiming double the rewards in the same amount of time is still faster than automatic rewards at the default speed. Kuro streamlined the player experience without turning the game into an auto battler, but if there are still further optimizations that need to be made on the grind, they only need to take more inspiration from themselves by integrating more of the simplified grinding systems from Punishing Grey Raven. The quality of life didn't end at leveling, it extended to echoes as well. Echoes, with their flexibility and skills, are easily one of the most original and creative takes on gear in gacha gaming, and Kuro has finalized information for their stats and Sonata on drop, adding a lot more satisfaction to the echo grind by giving you the immediate joy of an onset drop, rather than later when you're organizing your loot. This wasn't a problem at all if tacit fields were the only way you farmed echoes, but with a player's ability to infinitely grind in the overworld, modern problems require modern solutions. They've also simplified the leveling process, knowing how often players will level in increments of 5, saving even more time. The last update featured the classic endgame mode, the Tower of Adversity, and they've removed all of the little annoyances like exiting out of the battles completely to swap gear. With all of these listed updates, Kuro has clearly shown their ear is on the door whenever a player makes a complaint about the game, and the approach that they take to address those complaints are always creative while still maintaining the feel of the game. You see it in Dreamlink, you see it in the wayplate optimizations, and you even see it in the weapon skins. Kuro's giving the players what they want, and they've been doing it since the launch of the game. One of the greatest additions released in version 1.2 was the hover droid shooter, and at first, this thing just seemed like a replacement for a pistol character for overworld challenges, but Kuro made it so much more than that. With the ability to instantly break any ore while still being completely usable while gliding, they made it something actually worth using in regular gameplay rather than a gimmick that you pull out once an update. It's a gadget that aids your overworld experience, not something that's necessary for it. This game, in the short 5.5 months since its release, has seen more updates to its baseline gameplay and combat than others have seen in over 4 years, and many of its prior and upcoming changes have been directly inspired by the successes of prior titles, both in gacha and not. Kuro's only going to make this game better and better, and they're only using the best features from other games when they're not coming up with something original themselves. As always, if you enjoyed this content, please hit that like and subscribe button. Peace out.